Hey guys, we're back with another project. A super common task that you'll be asked to do as a developer is in this list of products here in the catalog products. OpenCart comes with a couple filters, but it doesn't have the ability to sort by a manufacturer. So it'd be really nice if we could tell, just give me all the products that Canon sells. So this is a stock installation of OpenCart. You can see that we have just the defaults. And this is going to be our finished product. We'll show you how to make this. Stay tuned. Okay, we're here at a fresh OpenCart installation. We need to start in our view. Now we know that we are in catalog product. Again, I got here from the dashboard by going to catalog products. So we are in the controller catalog product. Let's pull up our editor. We're in the admin side, looking for a view in our template called catalog, and this is going to be the product list. Let's open that up. Inside of here, of course, is the template. We are looking for above the table, here we are, the panel body. I'm just going to space this out just a little bit, make our lives a little easier. Let's get this forward. There we go. Here's the row that we're worried about, and that's the well. Okay. So I'm going to pull this to the side. You can see we have 3 columns. Standard bootstrap. We've got a row. We have a column there. We have a column there. We have a column there. And there's our button. So what we want to do is, before the button, we're going to want to copy. Well, we're going to need to make a new row. So let's close the row. We'll deal with the rest of this later. So that's the end of the row. We'll make a new row. And the rest we can just take from one of these. So we're going to grab one of these columns. Because rewriting Bootstrap would be crazy. Alright, let's take a look at what we've got. Alright, we have an input stuck over here. Now the filter button's in the wrong place, but we can deal with that stuff later. Let's change the information here. Again, this is the well, so I'm going to go ahead and notate that. Will make your life easier, save you hours. Alright, we have a label for, this is the ID of the thing the label is for. We're going to make a label called filter manufacturer. Now this PHP bit here links to a language file. We're not going to deal with that right now. We're just going to hard code ourselves. Let me delete all this just for a second so you guys can see what I'm talking about. We just have a label there, some bootstrap, and an ID. Now this is an input. We don't want an input, so we will just get rid of an input. We're going to do a select box, a drop-down box. So this is basically how that works. You put an option right there. Let's take a look at our page. And we have a drop down. Now it's not very pretty. Put in our bootstrap. And we're looking good. Now again, the filter button's all off to the wrong side, but okay, we're back. I have done a little bit of cleanup to the code. I moved the button into its own row. That's pretty much it. Take a look at the page. We still got our drop down 1, 2, 3, and a filter. So the next thing we need to do is head over to our model. And let's take a look at what is available in our manufacturer's model. What kind of things can we get out of the database? There's this one called Get Manufacturers, which returns a list of manufacturers. So that sounds promising. Let's head over to our controller. Again, we are in Catalog Product on the admin side. As you can see, it hits the index, calls Get List. So let's go ahead and just find Get List. That's the fastest way. We see we have this protected function right here called Get List. We will probably touch all the pieces of this very shortly, but for now, let's just head down to the bottom right before it returns the view. And let's load that model. Do that with this load model, and which one it is. It was Catalog Manufacturer. Then we are going to call a function in that model with this model. Remember the underscores. Catalog Manufacturer. And we are calling the function Get Manufacturers. Pretty sure that's correct. I didn't mean to close it. Let me go double check. Get Manufacturers. And for right now, let's just set that to a variable. Echo the variable. Let's see what happens. Oh, we got an array back, so that's great. I should have predicted that. var dumpt foo. All right, there we go. We have a manufacturer ID, a name, an image, and a sort order. I'm going to pop over to Workbench here just to show you where these are coming from in OC Manufacturer. We have the manufacturer ID, the name, and the image. Manufacturer ID, name, and image. So let's get that into our data array. Call it manufacturers. Of course, by putting it into the data object, we can pass it to our view. Let's head back to our view. Product list. Back to our thing. All right. So inside the select box, we're going to want to echo out our manufacturers. Now, what we really want to do is for each through them. Manufacturers. We want to make an option for each one of those. Now, there's two ways, of course, you could do this. You could echo this and concat. For instance. But a better way to do this is, let me just undo all that, to simply close this PHP tag, reopen this PHP tag, and then inside here, do it again. So if I have done that right, we should now have all of the manufacturer's names. And there we go. All right, the next thing we are going to do, whoopsie, where's my page? Is we need to be able to identify these by a ID so that we can search in them in the model, because of course the model uses manufacturer ID. So inside of our option, we're going to get a value. Manufacturer ID. Now, of course, each of the names is tied with manufacturer IDs. Now we need to be able to submit our select box along with the other filters. So that is, of course, controlled by this button filter. And I will save you all of the work and learning. This is controlled by a JavaScript at the bottom of the page. It does not actually submit anything. If we scroll down here, you can see button filter, on click, run this function. Now this function creates a URL. Of course, we're on the admin side, so we have to have the token. Creates the base URL and adds get parameters to it as we go along. So if the filter name is this CSS selector, we're using jQuery, of course. If we have this filter, append this as a get parameter. So we just need to add our own. Ours is a select with the name filter manufacturer. Let's head back up here and make sure that you guys see where that is. Make sure that I actually did it. I did not. We will name our select now we can add filter manufacturer, filter manufacturer, filter manufacturer. Okay, we have our filter inside of our onClick. That is a URL that eventually gets passed down and ends up as location. Of course, location equals URL will send your browser to this URL. So it's essentially, if we walk up here, type in Mac and click filter, you can see it's appending filter name equals Mac, filter name equals Mac, Mac coming from the input, up there, and navigates to it. So we need to make our filter manufacturer show up just like if it was there, with an ID number, 10, 8, or 3. Let's see how we do that. So we are going to head to our controller. Up at the top of get list, the listing function, see where all the filters are set. If this is set, the get filter name, of course, remember this request get is replacing our regular old get variable. It just wraps it, makes it cleaner, makes it neater, makes it safer. So we are going to copy one of these. And just change to filter manufacturer. Okay, so if the get variable filter manufacturer is set, use that variable as filter manufacturer, otherwise set filter manufacturer to null. Okay, we have our get filter set. The way this works is these variables get passed into a filter data array, which in turn gets passed to the model. This is how you would put all of your filtering variables into the model. So we're just going to add one. Filter manufacturer, it's our own. Forget the comma. And I'm going to clean these up just because it bothers me. Oops, I got a space bar in there. You can see that this filter data now gets passed to filter data. Okay, so let's head to this model, get products, and see how it receives the filter data. So we are going to admin, model, catalog, product. We're going to just search for get products. And this is the SQL that returns products. And our manufacturer ID equals. Now, the proper way to do this is, of course, escape it. Escaping, just wrapping it so that it can't be injected. Basically, just make these two things look the same. All right, so if the filter manufacturer exists, then look where the manufacturer ID, and we need to specify the product table's manufacturer ID equals our filter manufacturer. Let's head down here, and right before we return it, let's just echo the SQL out so that we can see what's happening. Okay, so there's us without our filter. So we've got an error somewhere. Let's check our console. Filter manufacturer is not defined. That sounds like JavaScript. Aha! Filter manufacturer. Filter manufacturer. I'm sure you guys have been screaming that for a while. There we go. We can see that we have the filter name right there. Let's clear the filter name and put in Canon. Alrighty, our filter manufacturer ID showed up, and our manufacturer ID showed up, and only Canon is returned. Now you can see an obvious problem maybe. It is showing we have 19 results, even though we only actually have one result. That's caused by the other model that we were looking at called get total products. Let's head back to our model and let's find get total products. Here it is, and it does the same thing, but it just pretty much counts them. So we can just copy our same filter over again. We will get rid of all of this and put in our P dot manufacturer ID equals, let's this TV escape our data filter manufacturer. That should do that. And you see we have 1 of 1. I just remembered we left that up there. Let me get rid of that before things go squirrely. Don't want to leave that in there or I will forget about it. Okay, so our filtering is working, but we're not quite done yet. Okay, we have just one more issue that we need to fix or our clients will not be pleased with us. You can see that when I type in Apple here, well, let's do Mac. I click filter, the word Mac stays, but this changes every time. Select HTC, it goes back to Apple. Okay, now of course it's not finding any results because of those product names there. But we need to get rid of that. We need to make it so that as long as this filter manufacturer ID equals 8 equals the product ID of this one, it picks that one for us. And if you didn't follow that, you'll see what we mean. So let's head to our template. We're right here. Inside this option tag, we need to know if the manufacturer ID that it's using as the value is equal to this filter manufacturer, then we know to select that product. So let's just break this down. This is about as ugly as it gets. I'm just going to break these apart just for right now so that everything gets a little easier for us. In fact, I'm just going to leave that one on that line rather than risk it. So we are inside the option tag. And what we can do is echo the word selected. We'll do it for all of them right now, just to show you what happens. When we reload the page, we go now to the bottom of the list because all of them are selected and it can only select one, so it selects the bottom one. We're going to have it do basically the opposite of that. And we're going to use the ternary operator here. And if the manufacturer equals the filter manufacturer, now we can use the get here because we already know that that data up there is clean. We received it, so it's not a problem. Don't need to escape it. If these two things are equal, then we're going to say selected. Otherwise, we're going to just say nothing. And now you can see when I reload the page, assuming everything went well, when I change to Canon, it stays on Canon. When I change to Palm, it stays on Palm. Now our product is just about complete. Thanks for working with me.